nature conservation, waste management, water management, and sustainable living. For several years, she has been actively dedicated to the production, promotion, and training of bioenzymes. She is also the Haryana State President of Bioenzyme Council under Wiki and works as a sustainability consultant promoting upcycling initiatives. Now, scaling up because individual action is powerful, but bulk production is how the system we can change. Today, we will just learn how to scale up bioenzyme production for the real world impact. So, we all heartedly welcome Samiraji.
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you for the introduction. And good evening, everyone. I hope you had a great learning. At least I did. So I'll be hosting this session on the topic from kitchen to bulk production. And let me just share my screen. And please help me. Can you see the screen? Can you just help me? I'm going to talk about is from kitchen to bulk production and all the related aspects of it, like process standardization, quality control, storage, and shelf life. So we'll be talking about all these aspects. Okay, yeah, finally. Yeah, Nitin, okay, yeah. So the bulk production. Bulk production refers to a large-scale manufacturing of identical products in high volumes, typically using assembly lines, automated machinery, or batch methods. There is no specific volume or number amount which can be called as bulk production, but whenever you produce something to cater to a large number of consumers, it is called bulk production. And the key aspects of bulk production include, firstly, large quantities. In bulk production, thousands of items in number or volume such as clothing, electronic, food, household products, lifestyle items are produced in single run. Standardization. Products are manufactured to be uniform and consistent rather than customized. Cost efficiencies. So bulk production, because the volume is large and the manufacturing speed is high, so it brings down the volume production cost, making it ideal for wholesale orders and retail also. Process flow. So bulk production often follows a structured process of all the aspects of a business, like mass production, quality control, sampling, order confirmation, packaging, and shipping. Next slide, please. So while we do the bulk production, the ratio to follow for bulk production should be based on volumetric measurement. In this method, container can be of any size and you just have to follow the volumetric measurement of the ingredients in respect to the container. So 60% of the container capacity is water. 30% of water is peels or the biomass. 10% of water is jaggery. I repeat, 60% of the container capacity is water. 30% of that water is peels or biomass. 10% of water is jaggery. So if we take the base unit of 100-liter container, 60% of that container will be 60-liter water. 30% of 60-liter water will be 18 kgs of peels or biomass, and 10% of 60-liter water will be 8 kg of jaggery. So that kind of volumetric measurement you have to take care while you go for the bulk production. Okay, so process standardization. So for the sake of uniformity, ease of operation, and consistency of the bulk production, the following instructions should be followed. I'll not say must be followed, but should be followed. So instead of lid, cover the container with a thick plastic sheet and tighten it with either tire tube or thick elastic. Whenever you need to release the gas, just pull the elastic or the tire tube and lift the thick plastic a bit to let the gas escape out of the container. The lids can get loose when you open it every day and it may influence the quality of the BE. So this is another alternate method to do the bulk production. So many bulk producers are using the same method by tightening it with the elastic or the tire tube. Although you can use the lids, but in our experience, this method works very well. Before starting the batch, make sure to wash the containers nicely, whether new or the reused ones. The containers should be of good quality of plastic like HDPE, as this plastic doesn't leach into the liquid inside it and also can easily be recycled once it is discarded. So I think, Pragati, this answers your question. Why should we taking the plastic? See, plastic is very, forgiving. It doesn't react with the material inside it unless the plastic is of high quality. So HDPE stands for high density polyethylene. So it's very safe to use for a bioenzyme. So you don't have to worry that microplastic will be, leaching into the bioenzymes. Always keep the containers in a cool and dry place. Also make sure to have additional working space, which you will be needing at the time of sieving the clear bioenzyme. Make sure to label every batch with basic information like start date, ready date, quantity of water, peels, the amount of peels or the amount of jaggery. You may maintain a document of SOPs mentioning the starting date and its frequency along with the above information. So all this information will help you in analyzing the, you can do an analysis that, the various temperature, how the variation in the temperature affected the evaporation of water, the color of the bioenzyme, or the smell of the bioenzyme. So these things help while you do the analysis. Lastly, and very importantly, pulp management. So the pulp left out after the sieving of the clear bay will be very huge, and it will be, a task to, manage it. So, in my opinion, and from my personal experience, I can say that pulp can be composted very well. It turns out to be very good and very, healthy compost. Or you can just churn it by blender to make fine and thick liquid, which can be used for drains unclogging or gutter unclogging. But as by my experience, I can say the making it into a compost will be a good idea. So these are some pictures. Can you just show? These are some pictures, this kind of label. Although I don't suggest you write the label information on the drum, just, hang any label or paste any label onto it. Don't write it directly on the container. And the second picture is of the compost I was telling you. This compost is made by the leftover pulp. Can you see how, black and rich in color it is? And this is another picture where the person is working with the pulp. The next point is quality control. So, consistent quality challenge. So, maintaining consistent quality and effectiveness of bioenzyme can be difficult due to variation in peels or the organic waste material. And the solution of it, that standardizing the type and proportion of peels used, can help achieve more consistent results. Regular testing of the pH and adjustments can further improve consistency. So I suggest while you take the peels, just decide with what kind of peels, I mean that particular batch, what kind of peels you are going to take. Either it will be just the orange peels or just the lemon peels or the mixed fruit or the pineapple. Just decide what kind of bioenzyme you are going to make. So it will help in, maintaining the consistency. Temperature sensitivity challenge. The fermentation process is sensitive to temperature fluctuations, which can affect the activity of microorganism and subsequently the quality of bioenzyme. So Jayashree has already told you that the temperature between 25 to 30 or maybe 32 is ideal for the microorganisms. So try to maintain that kind of temperature. And the solution is keeping the fermentation container in a stable environment, and avoiding extreme temperatures can help maintaining this fermentation conditions. So if it is very cold, just cover the containers with, blankets. Or if it is very hot, just, switch on the fans. And there is one thing which worked for me. I put some water on the top of the container. Even if you're using the lids or the plastic container, just put some water on it if it is very hot. It helps. Contamination risk challenge. Contamination by unwanted microorganism can also affect the quality and effectiveness of the bioenzyme. And the solution is ensuring cleanliness and hygiene during the preparation and fermentation process can reduce the risk of contamination. So using sterilized equipment, using gloves, maintaining clean working conditions can help preventing the contamination. Next slide, please. And the resource variation challenge. So consistent availability of the same variety of peels or the other organic waste material needed for bioenzyme production can sometimes be a problem. A different variant of peels can also have different quality of bioenzyme. So the solution is to establish partnership with local markets or a particular farm owner or a particular juice vendors to collect peels or the organic waste. This can ensure a steady supply of same variety of raw material, or although it's not a guarantee, but yeah, to a certain extent, you can ensure the quality of the bioenzyme. Next slide, please. Next is storage and shelf life. The shelf life of enzyme can vary based on the storage conditions. For example, enzymes can remain active for months to years if stored properly, such as in dry or immobilized form. Enzymes are protein that can degrade over time, and their stability is influenced by factors like temperature, pH, moisture, and light. So proper storage is the key to maintaining potency. Enzymes stored in cool and dry conditions and following these hygiene guidelines, not the manufacturing recommendation, but hygiene recommendations can have a longer shelf life. And the second part is formulation. So shelf life also depends on the types of formulation. The additional ingredients added to BE for making value added products may carry their own respective shelf life, and it may affect the shelf life of the enzyme based product also. For example, you are adding fragrance or stabilizer or surfactant or any thickener. So those ingredients may have some kind of shelf life, and those can affect the shelf life of your bioenzyme. So it is suggested to formulate the product in smaller batches, or as and when the order is received, also mention the shelf life of those additives on the label of the bottle. So your bioenzyme may not have any shelf life, but the additives you are adding into the bioenzyme may have the shelf life, and you have to mention the shelf life of that particular ingredient you are adding to be very transparent with the customer. Yeah. Next. I think that's all from my side. If you have any question, I can answer.
So we just listened how we can do a bulk production of bioenzymes. We have Samira ji with us, and like we even have the Satish sir who has done the batching from
Yeah.
2 liters to 2000 liters with us. So anybody has any questions?
Go ahead.
All good? Yeah, please.
Okay. Ma'am, when I tried composting the pulp, right? So when I added the pulp in my compost, it led to more microorganisms in the compost.
Yeah.
And in certain homes, certain flats, people do not prefer the microorganisms growth much, right? Because they are just putting it outside the room or just in the balcony. So can we control that as well?
So the key factor is that don't put the pulp into your already the already existing compost bin. Just make a separate compost from the this pulp, and there is different process to compost it. You have to use the coco peat. You know coco peat?
Yeah.
So you have to add coco peat into these pulp and just make a separate batch for
Compost.
composting this. You don't have to put this same pulp into the existing compost bin. So
Oh,
there
that
is
is
an there is a ratio. If you want to know, I can share the ratio. Just write an email. I'll share the ratio.
Sure. Thank you.
Ma'am, I would like to go next.
Go ahead, please.
So I had an challenge with the internet connection. So I was able to only join when it was the 6th slide. Do you mind will you be able to summarize the first 6 slides or explain it the way I could understand, please?
If the time allows, I can go on, but I think this will be put it on YouTube and you can watch it anytime. So I think this will be helpful to you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I think even the PDF will be summarized, PDF would be shared so that you can go through a later point of the stage as well.
Nitin, I'm just sharing another picture which wasn't there. I want to show the picture of the container where it is tied with this elastic or the tire tube. Just wait, I'll share
Okay.
that picture with you. If you can just show it to them. This PPT, I had made some changes to this PPT, so it wasn't there.
Okay, in the meanwhile, if somebody has a question, you can go ahead, please.
Hello.
Yeah, I think
This is
Kavati, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question related to the fruit that we use. Let's say, for example, if you're taking lemons or sweet lemon or orange, can we use the whole fruit? Because sometimes we get from the juice shop also, it will not be like completely only peels. They will also get the pulp included. So it's very difficult to remove the pulp from there. So can we use the whole pulp as well as peel together, or
It's not-
complete lemon for the fermentation process?
So the seeds are not recommended because seeds generally, they sprout inside the container. So I don't recommend putting a lot of seeds. And I think the combination also changes there is a science behind it all. But I can say from my own experience, the seeds germinate within the container, so I don't recommend.
Okay, but without seeds, if we can use the pulp and
Yeah.
that is fine.
Yeah, the pulp and the peels can go inside the container, but not the seeds. I don't recommend.
Okay, yeah. And it will be like again 1:3:10 ratio, even
Yeah.
including the pulp, right?
Yeah, but you better to follow the volumetric measurement the way we
Sure.
told, that 60% of the container capacity, and then 30% of the water, and then 10% of the water. You can, I think the PPT will be shared with you, and you can watch it later on YouTube also, and the PPT will also be shared with you. If Nitin can just go back to that slide, if we can show to everyone the volume. It is third slide.
Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Actually, I have seen that ratio already.
Okay.
Thank you. And I do have one more question. When we are making some detergent and dishwash liquid, we add thickness to it, right? So when we are adding thickness, we usually add water also to grind or something like that if it is almond gum. So in that cases, that may impact the stability of the product again.
But the stability of the product generally depends on the pH. If your pH is stable, the product is stable. So just keep checking the pH of your product almost 3-4 days. If it is continuously the pH is same, your product is stable.
Okay, and if it
is not stable, if it is not stable, just keep it for some more days. It will get stabilized. Your pH tells the stability of the
then
product.
only we have to sell the product.
Yeah, even before selling the product, you have to check the pH for 3-4 days. If the pH is constantly coming to the same level, then your product is stabilized. So you should be checking the pH of the bioenzyme for 3-4 days. Once it's getting the same reading, then you can consider that your bioenzyme is stabilized.
And thank you, ma'am. And also, I do have one more question. When we use for the multi-purpose cleaners, it is also, I have seen sometimes having different bioenzymes added after fermentation. Let's say, for example, citrus bioenzyme, soapnut bioenzyme, and then rose bioenzyme. Is that something after 90-day fermentation, each separately and then combined together after 90 days fermentation is recommended, or together is recommended?
You can try anyway, but I think, or as I heard Jayashree, I think it is recommended that you mix all the ingredients together and then wait for 90 days. I think it will be more beneficial.
So then adding
That's
after
my
90 days comes. Okay.
that's my assessment, but we can also always try. But this is my assessment after hearing Jayashree that it is better to put all the ingredients together and then make it
In the beginning of the
in the
fermentation.
beginning of the fermentation. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
And
Thank you very much.
it will be very generic and very what do you call universal kind of bioenzyme. You'll get the
Sure. Thank you very much, ma'am, for your time and answering the question.
thank you.
I think we can take up one more question and move on to the next session.
Ma'am, can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah, please.
Ma'am, so when making bioenzyme, there is also the smell of fermented, products in it. And in the market, most customers would they would not like that smell. Is there any way we can manage this or kind of reduce that smell and maybe increase a good fragrance which is not toxic and also
Firstly, the fermentation smell is also not toxic. It's just that we are not used to it. Although we use vinegar in all the, recipes and everything, that vinegar smell is okay, but the enzyme smell is not okay. That I don't buy that, statement. But yeah, anyway, just to reduce the smell of this fermentation smell, we recommend the dilution. So the dilution makes the smell go a little milder, and then you can always add some, fragrance or essential oils to you mask that fermentation smell. So the dilution, does that thing to the bioenzyme. It reduces the fermentation smell or that pungent smell. That's why it is recommended that you should be diluting the bioenzymes.
Yes, I understand. So how can we convince our customers, or how can we, reframe their mindset in order to?
If they can eat the vinegar, which has the fermentation smell, cannot they use the this fermented liquid for normal household activities? They're eating the fermented vinegar. I think
Yes.
that's the best, statement you can give in your favor, that you are eating vinegar in almost all the recipes, the Chinese or everything, you are eating that vinegar or the fermented sort of smell. And why can't people deal with the fermented smell while doing other activities? If they're
Yes.
okay by eating it. We eat idlis and dosa, everything has that fermented smell.
So,
The fermented smell itself is a proof that it is natural.
Yes. So also, is bioenzyme edible? This is just
Yeah,
something.
there are edible bioenzymes, but this kind of bioenzyme, what we are telling you right now, we don't recommend that it is edible, but there are edible bioenzymes, and there is entirely a different process to make it. But these kind of bioenzyme which we are telling you, these are not edible. But enzymes are edible. There are edible enzymes, but I think it is entirely different way to produce these kind of enzymes.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much for taking time to explain.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. I am Neha here.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I
Yeah,
just want.
Neha.
I just want to know pulp that we get from after making bioenzyme. It's very difficult to manage. So we can only make compost from this pulp or any other use for this.
No, you can make a thick kind of liquid also, which can be used for drain management and ponds management. The thick kind of, you can just blend it, the pulp in with the blender and just make a thick liquid out of it.
Can we make 2-3 pulp different bioenzymes pulps together?
Yeah,
and
you can. Yeah, you can make. But I can tell you from my own experience, I found that pulp, this making compost out of the pulp is the best way to deal with it. This is my personal experience.
Okay, ma'am, as you said, a seed cannot be used for making bioenzyme, but in making Amla bioenzyme and soapnut bioenzyme, it's very difficult to remove seed.
Those are very hard seeds. They don't germinate like that only. Those are very, very hard seeds. But the lemon or the other kind of fruits, they're very gentle seeds. They ferment, they germinate, like anything. But the amla and the soap nut, they're very, very hard seeds.
So we can use for that.
Yeah, you can use. You can try using it. I don't think they'll germinate. If they germinate, please don't blame me. I never used.
Thank you so much.
Okay. So, ma'am, after your session, right? So, bulk production is no longer a dream for us. Okay, it's just you have just laid a blueprint where we can turn the bioenzymes from our kitchen to communities. Thank you so much, ma'am, for
Thank
sharing your experiences and
yeah.
expertise with us.
Thank you. And keep experimenting and keep having your own learnings. And do a session for us also in the future.
Yeah, the picture which you are looking at, right? It is displayed
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
screen.
It is on the screen now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the container I was telling you. It is covered with a thick plastic, and then it's been tightened with the tire tube. The tire tube which is inside the cycle wala tire, the tube. Or you can take 1.5 inches this elastic, 1.5 inches broad elastic, and you can tie it with that elastic also. And just pull it a bit and then lift the sheet and the air will escape. It's the easiest way to manage the bulk production. That worked for me, and that worked for many of the bulk producers, but you can have your own learnings.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you. So, moving on to the next success story. Okay, from being a learner to becoming an entrepreneur. Okay, we have Swati ji to motivate us by sharing her entrepreneurial journey.
नितिन,
Over to
यू
you,
कैन
ma'am.
ट्रांसलेट लेटर, है ना?
Yeah, sure.
नमस्कार सभी को। मैं स्वाति सिंह गुड़गांव से। 4-5 साल हो गए एंजाइम्स पर काम करते हुए, लेकिन हाँ, मैंने भी जो लर्निंग सीखी कि मेरे को तो यही लगा कि काफी मेहनत का काम है। बनाना तो इजी है, लेकिन बाद में उसको हार्वेस्ट करना, जैसे अभी सब बात कर रहे हैं कि उसकी कंपोस्ट कर लो, तो मैंने भी सुखा दिया छत पे। आजकल सीजन का कुछ पता नहीं है, बारिश आ गई, मेरा वो सारा गीला हो गया। तो वो कई चीजें हैं जो तुम्हें मैनेज करनी पड़ती है। तो मेरे को लगता है कि जो भी हमारे टीम मेंबर्स हैं, जितने लोग बना रहे हैं, अगर हम उनसे लेके ये काम करें तो वो थोड़ा जल्दी होगा, अगर हम बिजनेस करना चाहते हैं। तो मैंने दक्षलीला लास्ट ईयर स्टार्ट करी, तो मैंने प्रीति जी से ही बोला कि आप इतने साल से एंजाइम्स पे काम कर रहे हो, तो मैंने उनसे डिसइंफेक्टेंट मंगाए और उसको मैं फिर लेबल करके आगे दे रही हूँ। क्योंकि एंजाइम पर काम करना और पहले उसकी सारी टेस्टिंग, तो टेस्टिंग भी बहुत महंगी होती है। तो मुझे लगता है कि अगर जो भी प्रॉपर तरीके से कंपनी के लेबल है जिनका, तो हम मैन्युफैक्चर्ड बाय उनका यूज कर सकते हैं और मार्केटेड बाय हम अपना डाल सकते हैं। तो वो मुझे थोड़ा इजी लगा। मैं एंजाइम्स बना रही हूँ, मेरे घर में 2-3 हजार लीटर एंजाइम्स हैं, लेकिन अभी जैसे कल हम सीखेंगे तो मार्केट में प्रॉपर टाइप का प्रोडक्ट देने के लिए मुझे लगता है थोड़ा टाइम लेना चाहिए। और अगर हमें जल्दी है तो हम किसी का भी प्रोडक्ट लेके उसको ट्राई करके और वाइट लेबल करें तो वो ज्यादा इजी रहेगा। क्योंकि एंजाइम बनाना इजी है, लेकिन उसको हार्वेस्ट करना, पड़ोसियों को भी स्मेल आती है कि अरे आप क्या कर रहे हो। तो उसके बाद मतलब काफी सारे चैलेंजेस हैं। तो मेरा तो यही सजेशन होगा कि जो भी अगर स्टार्ट करना चाहते हैं, तो हमारे कई लोग हैं जो बना रहे हैं प्रोडक्ट्स, तो आप उनसे लो, वाइट लेबल करो और साथ में अपना अपना सीखते रहो और अपने एक्सपेरिमेंट करते रहो। ठीक है नितिन, इतना समझा दो तुम अब।
Thank you, ma'am. So for those who did not understand Hindi, it's just a few translation here. So she has been doing playing around with enzymes for last 4 to 5 years, and it was a great learning experience for her so far. And she has to manage a lot of things in her journey. Okay, after different experiments and persistence, right? She has started her own brand, Dakshlila, last year. Okay. So she also said that like testing of all these enzymes were a bit costly. So we have to work together as a community or a team. Okay. She also has 2 to 3,000 liters of enzymes available with her. Okay. The best suggestion she would like to give for the beginners is like we have a lot of members already in the BEA community who has done the products and done the testing and everything. So we can coordinate with them and get a white labeling done, and we can start our selling. In the meanwhile, we can continue experimenting, learning, and all the other processes which we require to start our own brand down the line. Okay. Her suggestion is like take some time, play around, learn, get a experience, and then start your own brand. In the meanwhile, if you are eager to start, the white labeling is the best way to go ahead. Is that correct, ma'am? Okay. So with your experience, with your words, we can understand that the Dakshlila is not just a brand, it is a statement. Okay. So from being a learner to entrepreneur, it is make a statement that everybody can do that. Thank you, ma'am. Okay, so we are left with another 20 minutes or so. So we have last presenter for today. Okay, we have Preeti ma'am. The name that does not require more introduction. Okay, so for those who are not aware, right? So Preeti ji is a distinguished professional with a postgraduate degree in marketing from Bangalore University. She is a visionary, founder, and driving force behind the Soil and Soul Foundation and the Bioenzyme Entrepreneurs Academy organization. Okay, so her achievements extend beyond the professional endeavors. Okay, she is a black belt in karate, national gold medalist in flying and aero modeling, reflecting her multi-faced talent. Okay, so I would like to hand over the stage to Preeti ji.
Thank you, Nitin. Thank you, Nitin. And yeah, so today, just first tell me how many of you are feeling it is too much of doses today? You can just give some kind of reactions. Because I know Jayashree gave a lot of information and why we need to do. Yogini explained it so well. Then Samira ji explained, how we need to do the bulk production. And the course will definitely go on. So I hope it is not too heavy for you, all of you, to digest. It is going to, by end of 9 hours, I'm telling you, it is going to be really heavy. And you will need a few months to digest and take it further, because this is actually a world of miracle. A lot of things have happened here where and we are very clear that we just don't want to teach how to make enzyme and you put A, B, C, D ingredient and you're done with the products. No, if you understand the basics, if your foundation is strong, you will succeed in your endeavors. And the foundation has to be completely, you need to be thorough with it, because this is going to help you not just formulating 1, 2, 3, 4 products. You can formulate n number of products. There is no limit to it. And all the creativity can go in formulating the product. So hold on to the horses and just understand first the basics, how does this enzyme, because every aspect, every property, the way, I mean, Jayashree explained it so beautifully that, and we need to understand it to create a product. So, and bioenzyme is the base. Bioenzyme, the purpose of bioenzyme is to break down the organic and inorganic matters. So, it makes it simpler for it to get dissolved in the soil. And whatever, there are so many things which comes like, on our way, that this is not good, that is not good. So, I mean, mostly we have seen it with the plastic, and as Jayashree explained and Samira explained, plastic is not bad. Plastic is the byproduct of petrol. And if we have petrol, we will have a plastic. If we have vehicles running on the roads, flights flying over the sky, we will have a plastic. And the best thing is to use it wisely and recycle it wisely. So don't have, and in our country, we are actually, whatever way, how much ever we are actually recycling the plastic, but glass recycling is again a very big challenge. It takes a lot of energy to recycle the glass. So if we say glass is very eco-friendly, no. Everything has its own pros and cons. So please understand the basic thing and then we go further. So now, uh, the thing what I'm going to cover is about understanding the ingredients, what we use it for formulating the product. So making enzyme is one part and converting it to product is another part. Now, when we make it as a product, it has to have a good touch and feel. Every customer, they like to have a good feeling of the product. It should smell good. It should I mean, I'm not telling, it is very much required for home. We can definitely have, our curd rice or chawal dal or whatever. But when you go and eat the same thing in a hotel or a restaurant, it is served in a proper way. So, it is all about serving, it is all about designing, it is all about the look and the feel of the product. That is very important. At the same time, we maintain the essence of enzyme in our product so that we don't pollute and we keep healing the earth. So we will have a quick presentation on all of these. How do we select the herbs, what are the ingredient we use it, and why these ingredients are why we are using these ingredients, all that thing you will have. So these are we'll just go through what we are trying to do. The urban water cycle, it talks about what Yogini gave a very beautiful explanation about, why do we need to change the way we do, and uh, I appreciate each one of you who wants to take this as as a business, because it is we are not just making the product, we are giving the solution to the ecological challenges. So first, be proud of what step you have taken, what decision you have taken to make it as your profession. It is a very big step which you have decided that, and this is going to be the future. There is no other way. And when we talk, about, yes, there are some challenges, like somebody was talking, the smell and all that. It is not that it is bad. It is just that the way Samira explained it, we have to get used to it. And it is not that, and that is where the product designing comes. How do you make your enzyme smell good, and enzyme look good, and enzyme can feel good about. And yes, we have done the product which is of any international level now. So it is possible, but you have to understand the basic and then go further from there. So then we spoke about the bulk production, dissecting bioenzyme. Jayashree has done beautifully. She has spoken about, how bioenzymes are taking the essence from the flowers or from the fruits, and how it is useful, and every aspect of all the seven enzymes what we have, and why we need all the seven enzymes. See, enzymes can be made in three different ways. One is from the animals. Second one is the industrial enzyme, which can be done in the lab, but they are very expensive. And I mean, you can understand the monocrop and the biodiversity. So, they isolate that particular enzyme and they make it. So then it doesn't work as a wholesome. And bioenzyme is something which is very holistic. which is like a biodiversity. It is, and you have seen the research, what Jayashree had put the papers there, the mixed flowers, the mixed fruits, and the mixed vegetables, they are performing better than the single enzyme, whether it is, pineapple or orange or, the single enzyme. So biodiversity is very important, and what we need, I'm not telling only pineapple enzyme is not good. What I'm trying to say, you have to figure out what business you want to get in, what kind of product you want to make it, and then get into what kind of enzyme you have to make. But if you will be able to do only when you understand the properties of enzymes. So that is dissection, compliances, and other stuff we will have tomorrow. And ingredient we are taking care, we will be covering it now. What are the ingredient and why these ingredients are being taken. Now, principle of selecting herbs, as Jayashree has already covered, what are the principle and how we need to select the enzyme for, making select the enzyme for making up products. So the plants are high in pectin, and which lead to the increase in methyl alcohol or the methanol. Now, and this happens during the fermentation process. So this is something, again, it is happening during fermentation, where these enzymes are giving the extract, how we are extracting the essence of that herb. And while doing this, one very interesting thing, I don't think any of you have noticed, when Jayashree was sharing about the dilution, the enzymes are releasing oxygen. The oxygen molecules are high. All this process, whatever you see, you will see more oxygen getting released. So, when the composting happens, we see a lot of methane gas getting emitted. But when we are decomposing the biomass in enzyme, it is producing oxygen. It is producing ozone. And this has to be very, all this thing Jayashree has covered. So I don't want to do the same thing. And there are different ways of incorporating herbs. One is we make enzyme, and when the enzymes are stable, we infuse these herbs so that these enzyme extracts the quality of these herbs. The herbs can be, your rosemary, your lemongrass. So these are two process. One is when you're making an enzyme, and second one is um, incorporating the herbs. Like, if you want, suppose the jasmine flower is very good, okay? So you want to extract the fragrance of jasmine flower. So that time we infuse jasmine into the enzyme. And your enzymes will smell like jasmine. But then we can't keep it for long. When we do the infusing, we keep it for only 2 or 3 days. And it can be these herbs, enzyme, whatever enzyme we saw, it is antibacterial, antifungal. So, when you understand that, your disinfectant is instantly ready, right? So, these are how different ways. Either you make the enzyme of entire herb, or you infuse the herb in your enzyme to extract the essence of herbs. But enzyme has to be stable. If your enzymes are not stable, infusing herbs will not work. So, you have to, again, when you have to select for your product what enzyme, then what product you're making, then you select the herb also. Like, sopnar, chicakai, citrus, lavender, thyme, these are all very good for cleaning purpose. It has antimicrobial, it has antiseptic, and whatever we need for the cleaning thing. But when we go for the personal care product, we look for something very soothing, like aloe vera, chamomile, which smells very good. So, so how we formulate, see, I'm not teaching you right now to make A, B, C, D product. I'm teaching you how do you select the herb for the product what you want to make, right? So these are, and as it was mentioned before, the herb or the ingredient what you take, it has to be very clean before you put it for the fermentation. Again, if I'm making a personal care product based out of enzyme, I wouldn't use only the, the one with the pulp and, I will select the herbs, I will wash the herb because it is for personal care. So, again, if we are making the enzyme for consumption, we do it in a different way. So these are all the very small and basic thing what we need to select, and these are all about the herbs, and these are very basic thing about how you make your skincare products. So chamomile flower, calendula petals, aloe vera gel, honey, water. So when we make enzyme here, we were talking only about the jaggery, but jaggery is good when we make the cleaning product. When we make our product for consumption or for personal use and all that, we use honey. And also when we use the fruit like mango and banana, which has more of sugar in that, we don't even use it. That means we are using the sugar of the fruit. So it's basically biomass, water, and the sweetener. Sweetener, honey. You can use honey also for fermenting, and even the sugar can be used for fermentation. But we don't recommend because sugar enzymes are little unstable. And the reason I'm talking about sugar, because every place, when you go to Thailand, or you go to Indonesia, or you go to China, you may not get jaggery in large quantity. You will get sugar there, but that doesn't, stop people making enzyme. Then they use sugar in it. Like last year, we had gone to Kashmir, Srinagar, for treating the landfill. So there, I was surprised to see there was no jaggery. And when there was no jaggery, we could use the sugar bags for that. So these are something which we need to understanding the ingredient is as important as making the product. So surfactants. Now surfactant is something which can give the feel good factor for the enzyme based products. You will be learning how to make products, how to use the surfactant in making the products, and how different it is if you have tried make products from at home with a whatever little understanding or experiment you have done. There's nothing wrong in it. Please mind it. There's nothing wrong in it, and there's nothing. It is all about experimenting and going further. If you can. So this is what the surfactant is doing. When we say it doesn't lather, it doesn't give the smooth thing, it gives the bad smell. I'm not able to put the fragrance into my enzyme because it is giving a lot of fermentation. So these are the surfactant which can help you eliminate all of those, and it can be it has its own property. We will see all the properties as well. Now, why are surfactant used? Okay, surfactant acts as a foaming agent, it is a thickener, it is a conditioner, it moisturizes, it makes it is a wetting agent. It also makes your product very stable because, enzyme, if I say, and if you make a product, and by the time you send your product to the customer, and if it has fermented or if the bottle has bloated more, then customer will not like your product. So we have to make our product which is stable, and it helps in increasing in bringing the stability in your product. So there are different surfactants which are natural and the petroleum based also. Now, every product, the conventional product, you can see the list of things, okay? Everybody uses the surfactant. They are used in dyes also, they're used in pigment, different kinds of surfactant is used. And EWG, that is Environmental Working Group, it is an international group. They have categorized these surfactant as A, B, C, D, E. So the A being the best surfactant, which is natural and all that. And as you go down, E or F grade of surfactant, which you find in most of the conventional product, which is causing the health issues, which is causing the problem, ecological problem, whatever we have seen today and whatever has made us bring to bioenzyme. So those are F and G grades of surfactant. Now, we will go through the different EWG group of surfactants. Now here you can see this four categories of surfactant. EWG rated F overall, that is ionic surfactant. Non-ionic is D. Cationic is F overall. And amphoteric surfactant is again a D. So these are the different types of surfactant. And then comes the natural surfactant. Now, what is natural surfactant? We have something in soap nut, shikakai, which is lathering, which has a saponin, which works more like, I can say a shampoo that grows on tree. So, they're natural surfactant and they are rated as EWG1. Now, when we use EWG1 surfactant like soap nut and all that, your product, you may not get the stability in your product. Okay, these are all EWG rated 1. Now we have second, that is EWG rated 2, is a naturally derived synthetic surfactant. Why it is called synthetic surfactant? Because they are derived. So they are mostly from either from coconut or from corn. You make these, glucoside family, cocoa glucoside, decyl glucoside. So these are very good surfactant, which, you see it in your shampoo or your body wash. And these are very safe for children, for pets, because these are absolutely no toxic. It is, and it's 100% natural. It works even for the tender skin for the small babies. It is very safe. So we'll be talking more of these decyl glucoside and cocoa glucoside. So these are, these many personal care companies, they use all of these products, these as a surfactant, and they call it as a natural plant-based cleaners and all that. Cocoa glucoside. So it has its own different properties. So when we make our product, the bioenzyme products, we use most of these decyl glucoside or cocoa glucoside. Now, what is the difference between these two? We'll be seeing it in the coming slides. Now, this is cocoa glucoside. This is decyl glucoside. So cocoa glucoside is derived from coconut, and decyl glucoside could be coconut or the corn. Cocoa glucoside, it removes the oil and greasy surface, wherein the decyl glucoside, it foams up very easily. You get good lather, the soft lather from there. From cocoa glucoside, foam doesn't dissipate easily, wherein from decyl, the foam dissipates very easily. And cocoa glucoside is gentler than decyl glucoside. Now, see, we need everything. If you see the property of these two ingredients, okay, we want our laundry wash to remove the oil and grease. right? We want it to foam up also easily so that, and these are good in mixing up with essential oil also. And yeah, so we need all of these to make a good product. And you will get all of these easily online on Amazon and all that you get. Now, vegetable glycerin is also a very important ingredient in most of the product. These are also from the coconut oil. And the best part of these in our bioenzyme product, well, what I was just understanding now when the entire world is so unstable about, the gas and the petrol and all that thing, and making these products using so much of electricity, so much of petrol based ingredient, everything is going to go up. Yeah, I mean, I was recently reading about this Hindustan Liver. So their shampoo sachet, which used to be like 10 gram, no, 10 ml or 10 gram, they have reduced the size to 8 now, because the plastic, the packet, the sachet size also has reduced, and they've increased the cost. 8% cost also, 2% cost has gone up. So they have reduced some quantity and they've increased the cost because we are still depending on the packages and the ingredient, what they use it in their conventional product. So, in that's what I'm just looking at it. In future, all these conventional products are going to go up. But these products, which are derived locally from the plant and very humble products, these are, even if it is costing more today, it is going to be the trend, because we cannot keep depending on other country, and that is where we are talking about Atmanirbhar Bharat, where we take all the ingredients which are from our country and we make our product here without depending on anyone else. So, and these are easily available. So what I'm seeing, the conventional product price are definitely going to go up, and it doesn't mean our price will go up. We are whatever we have, whatever we use our ingredient, uh, we have to keep it stable, to capture the market. So product formulation, I'm going to talk about it tomorrow, how other products are made. So right now, I would like to close it here. And any questions, any doubt on these things, you can ask me. So there can be only two things. Either you have understood everything or you have not understood anything. So whatever way we are, you can be, because see, it is uh, BA, we run on a voluntary basis. So, everybody is busy and they may not have so much of time to devote. So we don't take very often the classes. But yes, these classes are very, we have actually curated these sessions with a lot of effort. It has gone into. So, anything, any doubt, or if you want to take some time, because end of the session, 9 hours of course, you will have to go through the test. We will have an online test where you will have to answer the questions, and we are trying to make it like a typical classroom here. So, uh, yes, Kavati.
Yes, ma'am. Actually, I have a question, ma'am, related to
Yes.
the formulation.
Yes.
When we talk about adding surfactants and maybe essential oils also as infusion.
Mm.
So all this again, I think about the stability of the product. So,
Yeah.
which is again, I wanted to link back to the pH. If the pH is within the range, then the formulation is good. Whatever if we add as part of the fermentation process, is that right, ma'am? Even as part of the infusion, right?
So see, making enzyme is one part. So today we are not talking much about making the enzyme. We are talking beyond that. How do you convert your enzyme into the product? Right. So this definitely take some time for you to digest. Uh, Please go through or try to recollect what we have given. We will be giving book to all of you, whatever comes out from this session, and it will help you to understand and take it further from there. Because see, entrepreneurship or the bioenzyme-preneurs, it is something very new, and we have support like Bio E3 from our government also, and this is going to be the talk in the coming days. So take your time, digest, and then move on. And we are all here. We are in the same community. We are here to help you out. Let's see how it goes, right? Yes, Maureen.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Two quick questions.
Yes.
Due to the reception, I just missed when you said fruits with more sugar, you do not have to add extra sugar. You can just
Yeah.
briefly tell that, number one. Number two, instead of surfactant, is there a way we could use man-made soap liquid solution in order to get the foam? That's all.
Yes, that is the best thing, Maureen, because if we use only the soap nut and the EWG grade 1 kind of surfactant, that's the best thing. And I'm sure when we are using at home, we are using those kind of things as well. But when we are talking about the commercial product and making it like a profitable business, then we have to look into a different ultimately we have to reach the top level of EWG1, but there is a step to go. If we cannot change overnight, so let us stop harming our resources and go one by one. And I'm sure by then, since all of us are into doing our own research, we will definitely come out with some other way. And you will, a lot of questions will get clarified when you go through the formulations of the product in the coming sessions.
Okay, thank you. About the mango and papaya.
So mango,
Yes.
mango sapota they call, and this fruit which has more sugar. You don't have to add sugar in that, and you can, in fact, you can add some old enzyme to start the fermentation process also. So it is,
Same ratio.
yeah.
All right.
So
Okay.
we ferment with jaggery, we ferment with sugar, we ferment with honey, we ferment with old enzymes. So yeah, but what Samira was talking about, bringing the stability to enzyme at the end of it, that is what is important, and that is how it has to go further.
Thank you.
Yeah. Amala? Amala, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. We
Yes,
are
Amala.
facing some problem for the laundry, so that
Okay.
only.
No, that will happen only when we go to the next session. We will have all that also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So I think we are okay now. We can go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Priti ma'am, every session you take is like a masterpiece. Okay. So you stress upon the basics, the understanding of the concepts, which is very important in formulation, rather than just following the formula which we give at the end of the day to make a product. Okay. So thank you for creating such a meaningful platform for all the participants to understand the criticality and the basics well, so that they become a better formulators. Thank you wholeheartedly, ma'am.
Thank you.
Now I call upon Mahesh Nahal ji sir, who is the founder trustee of BEA from Rajasthan, to present the vote of thanks.
कुछ दिनों पहले हम लोग 3-4 लोगों के समूह में बैठे थे। कमरे में कुछ ज्यादा ही मच्छर हो रहे थे, तो कोई बोला कि ऑल आउट लाओ, कोई क्या बोला। मैंने कुछ नहीं किया। मेरे पास एक छोटी सी बोतल थी बायोएंजाइम की, उस बायोएंजाइम की बोतल को खोल करके रख दिया। थोड़ी देर में सारे मच्छर भाग गए। जो भाग नहीं सके वो ग्लास पे जाके बैठ गए कि हम बाहर जाएं। तो बायोएंजाइम सबके काम का है, बायोएंजाइम सबके लिए उपयोगी है। बायोएंजाइम घर के लिए भी है, बायोएंजाइम ऑफिस के लिए भी है, बायोएंजाइम इंडस्ट्री के लिए भी है, बायोएंजाइम फार्मिंग के लिए भी है, बायोएंजाइम धरती माता के लिए भी बहुत अच्छा है। तो बायोएंजाइम की जय जयकार है, इसलिए मैं बायोएंजाइम की जय बोलूँगा। आज का सेशन बहुत ज़बरदस्त रहा, बहुत नॉलेजफुल। मुझे लगता है कि पूरी नॉलेज, पूरी अनुभव उड़ेल दी गई वजह से। शुरुआत से ही जो सेशन रहा उसमें योगिनी जी, जयश्री जी ने तो गजब ही कर दिया। मुझे लगता है इतना शानदार जबरदस्त आपका प्रेजेंटेशन रहा, योगिनी जी और जयश्री जी। और उसके बाद में हाँ, समीरा जी ने भी क्वांटिटी में जो सारा बायोएंजाइम बनाया उस बारे में बहुत शानदार अपना प्रेजेंटेशन रखा है। प्रीति जी और बाकी एक्सपीरियंस और सक्सेस स्टोरी में हमारे स्वाति जी, सतीश जी और एक नाम और था, वो नाम था सुमित्रा जी। अपने आप में जबरदस्त शानदार तरीके से इसी प्रकार के सेशन में डेवलप होकर के और उन्होंने अपना ब्रांड खड़ा किया दुबई में। मैं उनका भी धन्यवाद करता हूँ, आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ सबसे पहले शांति पाठ करने वाली पद्मा जी का, रूपा जी का, सुमित्रा जी का, और इस सारे प्रोग्राम को मॉडरेट करने वाले नितिन जी का। आप सबका बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। सभी पार्टिसिपेंट जो इस सारे प्रोग्राम में रहे हैं, जिन्होंने बहुत कुछ सीखने को जो जिनको मिलेगा। और मुझे लगता है कि इस सारे प्रोग्राम को बहुत गंभीरता से अगर आप लेते हैं तो एक बहुत बड़ा ब्रांड, छोटा ब्रांड की बात नहीं करूंगा, छोटे प्रोग्राम के नाते बहुत छोटा कोई बिजनेस आप खड़ा करें ऐसा भी मैं नहीं कहूँगा। मैं तो ये कहूँगा इस सारे अनुभव को लेकर के, इतने सारी बातों को लेकर के आप अपना बहुत बड़े विजन के साथ में बहुत बड़ा एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कोई खड़ा करें, ऐसी शुभकामना व्यक्त करता हुआ मैं सबके प्रति बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद और आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। नमस्कार।
Thank you, sir, for a beautiful word of thanks. So we just need to remember, we are not just making bioenzymes here, we are making a movement together. Okay, we are not just attending the workshop here, we are joining a revolution which is silent, green, and powerful too. Okay, before we end up today's first session, which was packed up with a lot of information, and it will take you another day before you join the next session tomorrow to digest those things. Okay, we will end the session by taking a pledge. Okay, let me read out the pledge. So as a BEA, we have a pledge designed for us and which we usually take in every session, and we not just read out that, we practice by heart. Okay. I pledge to embrace and promote the use of bioenzymes to protect our soil, air, and water. I commit to making and using bioenzyme for organic waste management, reducing chemical pollutants, and fostering sustainable ecosystems. Together, we will safeguard our environment and create a cleaner, healthier world for all. Thank you, everyone.